Hey, welcome back. This is 12 Steam Podcast. This is just a testing stream. I just want to make sure that everything is moving right and correct. So we're going to talk about not really anything at all, but just to get feedback for just how it looks, how it sounds, making sure that everything's working on both platforms. Because we now are going live on TikTok. So now with us being live on TikTok, hopefully that brings a different dynamic to things. So again, with this being a testing stream, um, might as well talk to you a little bit about everything that I've been going through. So one, this is 12. You all should know me by now. Basically, we're in the Zoro of the group, and I have been going through some pain recently. So let me just see first, make sure that this works up on here. Uh, hmm. Let's go to let's see if the pod pops up. Actually, oh, hold on. Ah, it does. That's pretty cool. I like that. All right, bet. So, um, let's just talk about it then for a little bit. So, how's it going? I'm 12. I apologize for the delay on getting out the chapter review for 11. Was it 11:25, 11:45? One of those. The newest One Piece chapter review for chapter blah 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 11:45. Yes, had a hard time thinking about what it was. But I want to make sure that I can talk to you a little bit about the review and then possibly, speak a little bit about what's happening. So I normally get the reviews done with on Sundays, and I try to make sure that I put it out, the official review out. I do read the unofficial translations, but because I'm kind of like getting more into the hang of things with everything, I want to make sure that I can come on the proper way. So I apologize for the wait, but let's see how this goes right now. I was recently in a car accident. A car accident messed up my knee and my back for the most part, but I'm fine. We still did our pod on Monday. Me and 16, of course, are still going to C2E2. I just got to fight through the pain. So hopefully, the meds help and we keep going strong from there. But to get right into it, though, we can talk about the chapter. I want to say, if you are not caught up to chapter 11:20, 11:45, now is the time for you to let me know, because I do want to talk about that, and that is something that for sure will be talked about, because it's One Piece. We wouldn't be here without One Piece. One Piece is the GOAT piece, so we try to make sure we get everything we can out of it. So, with that being said, let's get right into the show. So we start off, of course, with a banger for the opening. So the cover art that we have for this chapter, of course, is the crew at 11:15 looking on to just see. I guess they're looking at Luffy inside his Gear Fifth mode, and Luffy's looking on like, "Hey, that's me!" And of course, Usopp's a little freaked out. Chopper's amazed. We have Zoro that's just inside there, glazed over with his sake, doing Zoro things. Brooke and Frankie are in the background cheering them on. Jinbei is happy as well as Nami. Then we have, of course, Sanji giving out the drinks to everybody, of course, with hamburgers that he has there in pizza, of course, because Jimmy's eating pizza. But we're getting right into it, though. Now, the actual cover for this chapter starts off with us looking at just how Yamato got the sword back. So finally, that whole battle between who's who and Yamato was over with, and we're now on to the actual rest of her journey through Wano. We know that Yamato is going through this journey, kind of like how Odin did. We know the Shogun is going to be Momonosuke, but Yamato is going through this entire thing where she could probably get her own, section and run it from there, or she could go through the entire thing and set out for sea. And when she sets out for sea, of course, team up or not team up really for the most part. So my theory is still that Luffy wants 10 people on his crew. We know that we have Zoro, we have Nami, we have Usopp, we have Frankie, we have Sanji, we have Chopper, we have Brooke, we have Jinbei, we have Robin. That's 9 people, excluding the captain. Now, if you take that into consideration, he always said he wanted a 10-person crew, which means could it be that the 10th person could either be Yamato or could it be Loki? So, with that being said, we definitely want to figure out which route that they're going to go for that one, because I would love to see Loki come on and Loki be a part of the Straw Hat crew. Also, at the same time, I'd love to see Yamato do this as well. But to get right into the chapter, 1145, titled Wildfire in Forest Sector 2, Branch Route 8. We know that the kids are all traveling through that area, through that sector right now, because as they travel through the sector, they're kind of going towards the pathway that was carved out by Gunko. Gunko, of course, being one of the holy knights, being there, has carved out a pathway for them to take that is the shortest pathway from their school all the way until the beach where they could officially kidnap them and take them away. So we have we have Gunko there, we have Summers, and we have Killingham. So we'll see what they all do and how they can actually be stopped. But we start off the chapter, of course, with that giant dinosaur still lurking around. And Sanji and Zoro, we've seen this move happen plenty of time. Hey, catch me cook. Of course, I got you, Mosshead, as he slings him through the air as a kick, and he goes right through him with a Amir Delara assault. And of course, Zoro cuts off the dinosaur's head, with dinosaur coming off and landing and going from there. So, with that being there, we do know that the dinosaur has been taken care of, and now they have meat, of course, to bring back and have a feast with. But as we look on some more, we see that it is a shield that stopped them, because the shield is the one who blocked the attack that one of the I forget his name, one of the giants is holding, and the shield is no ordinary shield. Excuse me. This shield is actually a homie. This shield was once inside the Big Mom pirate crew, and being a part of the Big Mom pirates, you gotta know some people inside there. So we have this shield actually knowing who Zeus is, and we all know Zeus, lovable Zeus, the servant, the third servant now to, of course, our favorite navigator Nami. And now, with that being said, we are transitioning over until back where we came from, with Loki laid out on the ground. Rodin is around him, as well as Road. Gerald is there, as well as as well as Luffy. So they're looking on, and they're having a conversation with him, and he's just talking about like the whole reason, like, hey, these holy knights, like they really showed up and they really got into your butt, huh? They really beat your ass for the most part. And he's saying, yeah, it's humans from the world government that did this to me, and this is what Loki is saying. And Loki is, of course, down and out, and Herodin is like, you must have given him some type of reason, of course, some type of reason to get revenge when you rampaged beyond the sea. And Loki, being as smart as he is, simply says, you think I'd be stupid enough to be out there rampaging inside the sea and not become the king of the world by now? You got to be bullshitting me. But Luffy's looking on. He says, knights from the world government. Seems interesting. And as Luffy's looking on and he's hearing this, you just hear, hey, you guys. And of course, Sanji comes back with the other giants, as well as Zoro with this giant, monstrous Gargurosaurus. And this Gargurosaurus is the giant dinosaur they just take care of. Now, it's got some funny banter going on between Zoro and Sanji, because as Zoro says, I delivered the killing blow, Sanji says, you should have been there. It was I've never seen such a graceful soaring broccoli. Giving him kind of a compliment, backhanded compliment, of course, for the most part, but giving him a compliment. So now we have the tree there, we have the meat. Now Luffy, of course, what he said before, you just need meat to heal. So now let's heal you. Luffy jumps inside the air with a giant piece of meat and shoves it inside Loki's mouth. Pause, because that's really weird to say. Also, my boys inside the chat, Law, Bird, man, 16, Bird, I'm glad y'all here, bro, rocking out strong. It was a test stream at first. Test stream turned into just F it. Let's get the review done with. So hope y'all stick around and enjoy it. But as we're going through with it, this giant meat gets shoved inside Loki's mouth by Luffy. Again, pause, because it comes out so wrong saying it. Loki then freaks out. Says, are you trying to kill me? Like, what's wrong with you? Look what you're doing to me. Like, you're making this even worse right now. And Luffy's like, "Oh, be quiet. You're gonna recover, don't you? You got to have all the meat you can get." Pause again. Like, this is such a bad thing to say. You need all the food you can eat to make you recover a lot faster. So, of course, Loki starts chewing it and he eats it, of course, and he says, "Hey, he's hard to kind of swallow." Can you pause again? But can you put me up on my back real? Put me. Can you sit me up at least? Because it's hard to kind of swallow, and geez, you guys so fussy. And here comes Luffy. He set him up. They put a bunch of logs behind him. And now, because he was complaining about, things getting stuck inside his throat, pause again. Luffy takes off to bring him the soup. And as the soup comes back, he just simply, it's burning him actually. Luffy is running and saying, ouch, 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 hot, hot, hot. We know how Luffy gets down already. Luffy is a complete nutsack. So as he's coming through with it, he sees Loki laying up on the ground. He's trying to feed him the soup. And so as he gets closer and closer and closer, Luffy finally then trips. And as he trips, he says, "I'm so sorry." He trips and falls. All the soup gets put right up onto Loki, and Loki is now burning. Of course, Gerald likes it because hey, that's Loki. Hey, screw you, Loki, is what she's saying. Me, I'm rocking with Loki. You know how we get down already over here. But to go through with a little bit more of it, we do see that the Sanji is like, "Hey, like you guys should probably be a little bit more nice to him. This guy is inside, he's severely injured and whatnot." So Sanji is the one who's like the most lost out of everybody because he doesn't know what happened to him. So he's to me asking the question, "What's going on? Like, what made all the other giants not like hate this guy so bad?" And Zoro's like, "I'm guessing he was lying when he made that promise with Luffy." But of course, he's trying to find red-haired. We know for a fact that Loki has been attacked not only by Shanks but also by Shamrock. But they look so identical that Loki can really tell a difference. So he's just looking for redhead. Where is he now? Where is he at? I'm trying to go get him right now. And as Luffy keeps saying, "You're lying, you're lying, you're lying, you're lying." He doesn't really care too much for it. So what does he then do? Loki then says, "You know what? I'm gonna sit up all the way, but when you free me, when you get your deal of the bargain done with and completed, and you truly free me, I'm going to hunt down Redhead." Now, it doesn't matter which one he hunts down because he just wants Redhead. Both of them did him wrong. So of course it's time for some get back. We know Loki, being a Superman he's about that get back. So that action will definitely happen for sure. So he gets his meat, he eats it, he's getting healthier, he's sitting up a little bit, he has the soup next to him, and he's just explaining how it must be really nice for Luffy to look up to somebody, especially somebody who's a pirate, because he understands how it feels to idolize somebody just like that. And Luffy goes, "You make it sound like that you had the same exact thing about somebody else before." And Loki, of course, says, "Yes, yes, I did." And now this is the interesting part because we get a flashback. And inside the flashback, we see a silhouette of somebody who we've never seen before. Of course, you all know every time we see a silhouette, it has to be somebody who is supposed to come during the end game time of things, kind of like the same thing we begin with Im Sama and so forth and so forth. But this silhouette is darked out. We can still see the crazy hair that it has. Can it be Rocks D. Zebek? That is a question right there that is very interesting because Loki is a child, and Loki is being a kid, kind of similar to Luffy, is selling this guy like, "Hey, take me with you on an adventure. Like, I'm ready to go." And this silhouette simply says, "We didn't come here to meet a kid like you. We don't need help from somebody like you." I repeat myself. And then Loki's like, "You can use me. Trust me, I'm useful." So this figure, this silhouette, who I believe to be Rocksteady Zebek, simply says, "All right, you want to do that? Bet. Well, then fight me now." And as they have a fight, of course, no holding back. A sword was drawn, and then now Loki's on the ground as a kid, knocked out. He's saying, "Hey, you don't have to use a blade on a kid." Now that's not Loki saying that. That's this other silhouette that has a mustache coming out. We all know who that mustache is. It's Edwin Newgate, aka Whitebeard. So now this figure is walking away, looking like Rosty's the back. Of course, he says, "Shut up, Whitebeard." Well, he says, "Shut up, Newgate," but of course, same old same. He says, "I was born inside the wrong era." Now, as he says this, we cut away. But we've heard that saying before. Loki was born in the wrong era. He was born in the era basically where his idol was possibly destroyed. We still don't know the whereabouts of Rocky Zebek. We just assume, since he was beat by Garp and um by Roger, that he just vanished off the face of the earth, or they captured him, put him in jail, impaled down, executed him, whatever, not with it. But he could still be alive, and Roxy Zebek could actually pop back up later on. You never know. A lot of things to think about when it comes down to that. Now we cut back over to what's going on with these creatures that are these dream creatures. And Dorian and Broggy are doing their best, their very best, to hold it down for them. And Dorian and Broggy are fighting off all of these dream creatures, going one by one, from the dragon to the bird to the ghost. They're just laying them all down, running them over. And even one that looks like it's supposed to be Loki. Now, as they come through, this Loki look-alike jumps inside the air, and all we see is Mr. Ya, aka Scopper Gaban, jump up and says, "I'll handle him," and simply throws the axe, splitting him directly inside half and getting rid of him, and says, "Whew, good thing these kids have never met the real monsters that they dream about, because if they did, they would know the true strength behind this." Meaning that I don't know if Scott Caban could probably beat Loki right now, if they're both healthy at this current time frame. I don't think he'll be able to beat him by himself. So I'm glad that he did get somebody that could do it. But as they're going through taking out all of these calamities that popped up from these children's dreams, we see Mr. Saul, aka screaming on, "Hey, help the children! Where's the firefighters at? Where's our Elbath fighter team? Please help the children out. They're still walking towards the flame. They're going to burn alive." And as they said that, we're getting looked at on from Gunko and Summers. And Gunko and Summers are simply just looking on at the kids saying, it might be time that they wake up soon, possibly from the heat as they get closer and closer. But at that point, we might as well assume that they'll be burned alive for the most part. And the flames will burn into their bones. This is what Gunko was assuming that goes on behind it. Now, these kids are still sleepwalking, still going through with it, and these firefighters are putting everything that they can into it. Now, there is one person who we all know and love for a fact that is one with the sea. Even if it's a sea cloud, the sea waters are all still the same. And we have Jinbei, our helmsman of the crew, as he gets and collects and gathers all the water and does a nice little shoulder throw right over and puts out the flames. Now, when the flames go out, nobody sees that Jinbei has done it. They believe that it was done by the divine by the divine watchers of the that's looking over, the Elbath himself, the elders that's looking over for them. But of course the elders are like, nah, that one does, we can't do nothing like that. Nah, wrong people. But we see that this cloud is swimming on by. So hey, come on aboard, Jinbei. And of course we have Brooke, we have Usopp, we have Nami, and we have Colin, of course, there as they're on the passing by on the ship. And hey, Jinbei, hop right on. Let's go ahead and keep going. All right, we gotta go find the rest of the crew and get up out of here. Now, Jinbei has just successfully put out the forest fire single-handedly, mind you, because that firefighter team wasn't doing shit. But with that being done with, finally put the team out. As the flames go out, people started cheering and they're a little bit happy, but you still got to be a little bit worried because the children are still walking towards this end gate where they're supposed to have this meetup spot at. And as they do that, you know, it's one of those things where it's like, how do we stop the children for real from fully going all the way over there, and not getting caught? So as we do that, we look onto the Straw Hat Pirates crew, the ship that they're sailing on, with Colin, of course, and out comes a mysterious figure of a line just pops up and forms to a person. This person being Gunko. Gunko simply states her ground directly up on the mast of the ship and says, "I suppose the school isn't the only place to find Perky Child." Now, this Perky Child being Colin, of course, is now freaked out a little bit because hey, Gunko's here. And Gunko's there, but we have some of the straw hats with him. Nami, Usopp probably won't do anything. Brooke is gonna freak out. Also, actually, the pennies, and then of course we have Jinbei that's there, which is the third in charge right now, third in command for the most part, based off the bounties. But we know that of course Sanji will pass him up again soon. But with that being said, though, we do have Gunko sitting there now, ending off the chapter as she looks on, ready to attack or probably capture. Will attack the Straw Hat crew and capture Colin and go from there. So, with that being said, there's a lot to think about with the next chapter that we do have a nice 2 week break about 2 week break off from. With that 2 week break off, there's going to be a lot of questions coming up, but a lot of things going to be done with as well, such as C2E2 is coming up this weekend with myself, 16, Bird, possibly some of the other guys. We're going to pop out too. And as you pop out to it, you know it's always going to be a good time. It's going to be very hard moving around with the injuries that I do have now, but all in all, I am ready. I'm excited for it, and I am actually really fucking stoked to see what we are going to accomplish with some of the content that we're going to create this weekend. But to get right back to it, ending off the chapter, of course, what are some of your thoughts down below? Let us know down below what your thoughts are about the chapter. What is going to happen next chapter? Do you think that we're going to see Nami actually step up to the plate and fight Gunko off? With this being the arrow, I don't know what the arrows are made out of. But can you soak the arrows? If it gets hit by water, would it disappear? There's a lot of questions that I have about her fruit, and then just because when I think about her devil fruit, I think about oh my gosh, old girl that was inside Naruto that had the paper stuff she was doing, Karen. I think about Karen a lot, and you know, and if it rained, her devil fruit was pretty much obsolete. Devil fruit, her jutsu was pretty much obsolete. So is that kind of like how her devil fruit may be with Gunko? If Nami brings on the storm clouds, wets her up a little bit, can she not move a little more? Just turns to mesh a little bit. So some question to be proposed there. But this is 12. Of course, bring you some bangers. If you do like a video, please give us a thumbs up down below. If you do like this new style that I'm trying out for, such as the going live, as I'm doing the reviews, not just going live with the reviews, but also live on TikTok and YouTube as well. So, try to make sure I play both the apps out just right. But if you are rocking with us, let us know down below what you're rocking with. We're trying to bring you some of the best of the bangers out here. This is 12 officially signing off, and I hope to catch you all at either C2E2, Sexy Nerds, Sonic Boom, Tatica, or wherever you might catch us at coming up soon. But have a good night.